What's up, y'all? Welcome back to B Name Later Reactions. This time we're watching Spider-Man No Way Home review by Tony Baker. Tony Baker is like a comedian he's really into movies, so he does movie reviews on different movies that he likes. So let's go ahead and get it to react to this reaction. Subscribe to the channel. We on our way to 500 subs, man. Let's go ahead and start though. It's gonna be spoilers in this, most likely. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't watch this because I'm also gonna be talking about it and giving what I thought about it as he talk about it.
What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. I feel like we've been hearing so much about this movie before. Yo, this
for a long time.
This is gonna happen. This, that, and the third. I've been avoiding trailers like crazy, and I'm
glad me too.
Because between
I did my trailer reaction on the same day that I went to go watch the movie, so I've been avoiding everything.
First teaser trailer and the second trailer, they show you a lot. So I'm glad I avoided these trailers. Now, the first half of this video, first little piece, not even half, first little quarter, I'm gonna do a quick review. And then after that, I'm going into the spoiler field review. So, spoiler alert, but not yet, not yet. I'm gonna just leave it one. So Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man's finally back. In the pandemic era, you want to know, man, is this movie gonna do good? You know what I'm saying? Shang-Chi made over 200 million domestically. Venom, even though Venom's not MCU, but Venom is a comic book movie, that made some good money, even though it was terrible. It made good money.
I ain't see Venom. I don't know if it's terrible or not.
It's at like 160 something domestically, which is pretty low for a Marvel movie, even in the pandemic era. Black Widow made like 180 something domestically. I think they kind of view that as kind of a disappointment, but that's because they double released it. Now we got Spider-Man, No Way Home, and they were giving some incentive to early ticket buyers too. This movie ended up being the second highest grossing movie for opening weekend of all time. Second highest.
Nice.
Nobody saw this coming. The only movie that beat its opening weekend was Avengers Endgame. And then I look back.
That's because people love Toby, bro. People love Toby. Niggas rock with Andrew Garfield, bro. Like Spider-Man, just the OG. He's coming back. You gotta watch it. Everybody who's a Spider-Man fan, they gotta watch it. They had to.
How much Avengers Endgame made?
They had to.
Opening weekend. It
wasn't even a choice.
$50 million opening. That's crazy. So the top 3 opening weekend movies of all time all belong to Marvel. Anyway, Spider-Man's back. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Mysterio blew his whole spot up. Peter Parker is now revealed.
I thought this one was No Way Home. He said at the end of the last movie, No Way Home. But isn't this one No Way Home? Yeah, this one is No Way Home. Okay, so I'm not tripping. He just messed up. Okay.
No Way Home. Mysterio blew his whole spot.
Yeah, see, he said it right here.
End of Spider-Man No Way Home. Mysterio blew his whole spot up. Peter Parker is now revealed. It's like, yo, hey man, hey yo, y'all check this out. Peter Parker is Spider-Man, y'all. First of all, Mysterio is a whole hoe for that. He a hoe for that. That's petty.
Yeah, it is petty.
When you're about to die, you be like, hey y'all, Peter Parker Spider-Man, y'all.
Not the ooh.
You a petty hoe, Mysterio. So now he's dealing with the ramifications of his identity becoming public. So the storyline behind this is he goes to Doctor Strange, desperate measures. Yo, can you do a spell to make people forget that I'm, Spider-Man? You know what I'm saying? I want to clear my name. So good intentions. The spell ends up fumbling some things, and now different realities are merging into this reality, and so now we're dealing with the multiverse situation. So now
this is all spoilers. Did he say this is the spoiler section yet? Because I thought he said this wasn't the spoiler section, but he's telling like the entire plot of the movie.
They're popping up in this Spider-Man universe.
I mean, I don't care. I've seen it, but I could have sworn he said this is not the spoiler section.
Versus he didn't plan for it. None of us planned for it. And so now this storyline is essentially about him trying to correct the errors that they made on this bot spell created by Doctor Strange. So now they're trying to get that all under control. I know I'm doing this without revealing too much, even though the trailer's already showing you way too much. But he's got all these.
So he does consider this the non-spoiler.
Multiverses. So
this is
he's got to rectify that.
He's telling the whole movie.
The other Spider-Man movies. I personally feel like this Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man film that's ever been made. I think this is the best one.
Best Spider-Man film ever been made? Yeah, I can agree with that. Because it borrows from all the other Spider-Man movies ever made. So it has to be the best. It takes everything, it takes a lot of good stuff from all the other movies and put it in one. It got to be the best. It's the best Spider-Man movie ever made, yeah.
Is the best Spider-Man film
without a question.
Made. I think this is the best one, hands down. Before that, here's my ranking of the Spider-Man movies.
Okay, what's up? What it is?
Number one.
Let me give you mine before he give you his. I would say the original OG Spider-Man 1, it was okay. Spider-Man 2, I think, is when it really caught my attention. Yeah, Spider-Man 2, the original. Then the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was pretty cool too, though. The Tom Holland ones, I didn't really see them, except for the third one, the No Way Home. I didn't really see. I think he had 2 more before that. I didn't check those out. Yeah, didn't he have 2 more before No Way Home? I think he had 2 other movies before No Way Home. Yeah, Far From Home is something else. I didn't see those. I skimmed through it. I didn't actually see it. So I would say Spider-Man 2 for me. Second best movie would be Amazing Spider-Man was good. He was just a bad Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man, but a bad Peter Parker to me. But I will put his movie next. No, he had 2 of them. He had 2 movies, right? I will put well, his movies kind of blend together as one movie to me. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Did he have 2 movies? Maybe he just had 1. No, because Electro, Rhino, I'm trying to think of the villains he fought. The Lizard, those was different movies, right? Rhino came at the end, but Electro and Lizard, I thought those was different movies. Yeah, those had to be different movies. I think. If they're not, that's pretty sad because I just think of his stuff as one movie then. So Andrew Garfield's, I'm counting that as one movie. That's number 2. Then number 3 would be Spider-Man 3 with Venom and Harry Osborn as like the Green Goblin. And Sandman was in there, I think, in the third one. Yeah. And Venom. Yeah, Sandman and Venom was in there. Yeah, that'd be the third best one to me. Let's see what he got to say, though.
No Way Home. Number 2. Spider-Man movie, my personal.
This is before No Way Home. If I'm including No Way Home is number 1 for sure. But if I was not including No Way Home, then that would be my list.
Number 1, No Way Home. Number 2, Spider-Man 2. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking about live action. If we including fucking that, then yeah, that'll probably be number 1. The animated Miles Morales Into the Spider-Verse, that's probably number 1 over Spider-Man 2 for me. For real. Yeah, that'll probably be number 1. Then Spider-Man 2 number 2. But if we're including No Way Home, No Way Home will probably be number 1. And Into the Spider-Verse will be number 2. It's kind of close though. It's kind of real close. So I do rock with Miles. Yeah. Yeah, No Way Home will be number 1. It's just, it got too much other nostalgia in it for it to not be. Yeah. It's just winning off nostalgia. But Yeah, so No Way Home be number 1, Into the Spider-Verse number 2. I didn't know we was including animation. I thought we was just going live action movies. If he included that, then yeah, Into the Spider-Verse for sure.
Spider-Man 2. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Okay. Number 4, I'm going to go Spider-Man. I'm going to go with the original Spider-Man. With the that started all of this. Still pretty good.
I think that's the weakest.
Homecoming. Then I'm going to go with Far From Home. Far From Home. Then I'm going to go with The Amazing Spider-Man. Then I'm going to go with Spider-Man 3. And then The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
So he did that two movies.
Because the first half of Spider-Man 3 was actually pretty good to me. When they kind of just focused on the Sandman and Harry
that part was good.
Doing the Green Goblin thing. It was kind of good until they brought in the symbiote and just fumbled all that shit all the hell. That's when it became. So Spider-Man 3 is at the bottom because it angers me more than the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2, they just...
Venom wasn't that bad in it. I mean, he was... he wasn't that bad. He was bad. He wasn't that bad, though.
They were trying to do too much.
Then again, I was a kid when I saw it.
And they just fumbled the ball. So that's my ranking right there. But forget all that. Y'all want to know the smooth jazz review of Spider-Man No Way Home.
I'll give it like a 5 out of 5. I ain't gonna hold you.
Oh, yeah. I'm giving Spider-Man No Way Home.
You gotta give it that 5.
4.75 saxophones out of 5. Now,
what's the point 25?
5, but I just gotta see, when I watch it again, is it still as dope as it was the first time? But for right now, 4.75 out of 5.
I can respect it.
Goddamn.
He leaving point 25 in case like he just following the hype, so I can respect it. I could do that too then, cause I haven't seen it. I only seen it one time. I do gotta see it a second time. After my second time seeing it, it still might be a 5. But right now, I can agree with him and leave a little bit for like hype and human error. So 4.75, I'll give it that too.
This Spider-Man movie was Spider-Man.
Maybe 4.8.
Done right. All right, let's get to the recap. Spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, cut the video off right here if you don't want to be spoiled. I'm about to recap the whole movie right here, right now.
I mean, you already recapped
like I was saying, Mysterio was petty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, man, hey, y'all. Hey, listen, Spider-Man, he did all the drones. He killed all those people, man. And he's Peter Parker. Mysterio is a hoe for this. So with that being said, so now the people blame him for the attacks. Now the people blame him for the death of Mysterio. Now everybody in the world knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Now he's become the most famous person in the world, damn near. So it's just like, yo, how does he get out of this? Now Mary Jane is at risk. Now Aunt May is at risk. All his friends, all his family at risk. They know where he lives. They're outside of his apartment. Peter's like, yo, man, I'm sorry, Mary. I'm sorry, Ned. And now everybody knowing everything about him, now that affects everybody he's ever loved.
Yeah.
So now his friends don't get into MIT because of their association with Peter Parker. So now that affected them going to MIT. That affected their college, their higher education. So Peter's feeling
not
terrible.
that important in the long run, to be honest.
In the desperate measures sign, he goes to see Dr. Strange. Dr. Strange, listen, can you make a spell to where people forget that I am Peter Parker? Like everybody, they don't need to know of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I want this. And so Dr. Strange is like, I don't know. And Wong wants nothing to do with this. Wong is like, nah, man.
Yeah.
Don't be doing, he just gonna have to take it. This first Dr. Strange is like, you just gonna have to eat that. But nah, man, come on, they can't get into college because of me. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just help your boy out, man. I done fumbled this, I done fumbled that. They can't get into MIT because of me. Stephen Strange.
Man, forget MIT, bro.
Help your boy out.
You was cool with even though he ain't there no more, Tony Stark. His company still around. They'll get all y'all some jobs. Y'all smart. Y'all can work for Tony Stark Industries. Y'all can work for Shield or something. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you was cool with Tony Stark, even if he's dead now. Bro, come on. It's still Pepper. Pepper, she's still alive. She'll get y'all jobs. Like, you don't need MIT.
Yeah. And so Wong is out. He goes through the circle, closes it back up. Doctor Strange is like, "Ah, let's do this real quick." So he's setting up the spell. He's doing his thing. He's setting up the spell. He's got the the fingertips going. He's doing all of this. And Peter Parker keeps changing the narrative. He was like, "Well, I still want Aunt May to know who I am because that took a lot of pressure off." And then oh wait, the Mary Jane and then Mary MJ, not Mary Jane, MJ, and then Ned, because I like them knowing. So he kept interrupting Doctor Strange's spell. So because he kept adding to it. Peter was just adding to it. He didn't know what he was doing, so he kept adding to it. So the spell was just getting real sloppy. So Doctor Strange does his thing, but then he has to bring it back in because it's like, yo, you know how dangerous this spell is, and you keep interrupting, it's not gonna go well. But he had already did a little something to get the spell started, but he didn't really complete it, and he encased it in this case to keep it contained, to where that way it doesn't shatter the very fabric of the multiverse and the space-time continuum and the
very powerful
the
spell.
flux capacitor and Marty McFly, Doc Brown, all of that shit. So he contains it, and he's like, "Yo, so you mean to tell me you had me do this spell?"
And he a good storyteller. Just because he's recapping this, I'm like, yeah, that did happen. Yep, that's exactly how it went. So if you've never seen the movie, this is a very, very, very detailed, good explanation, scene by scene, of what was happening. So you basically getting to hear him tell the movie for free because he's doing a lot of the important details. Like it's a really good job.
He contains it, and he's like, "Yo, so you mean to tell me you had me do this spell, and you didn't even talk to the college to see if they could change their hearts? You just
He
got
young.
the letter,
He a senior.
and then you came running to me." Doctor Strange was understandably pissed. Peter was like, I didn't know. He didn't even attempt to talk to the recruiters, whoever brings in students.
Nobody. He ain't talked to nobody.
So Peter goes on this wild chase to find a recruiter for MIT.
He young. He ain't know he could talk to them.
She's on her way to the airport. So desperately, he rolls up to her car in the traffic. All of a sudden, the freeway is rumbling. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Octopus shows up on the bridge. Dr. Octopus.
Big Doc Ock.
The Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Shows up. What's happening, Peter? What it is, bro? So they fighting on the freeway. It's like, yo, Alfred Molina is back as Dr. Octopus. To this date, up until this movie came out, Spider-Man 2 was my favorite Spider-Man because it had dope fight sequences. It was they were getting their rhythm. They didn't have to establish any type of origins scenario.
Yeah.
They just
Spider-Man 2 was really good.
You felt sorry for the villain. The villain was compelling, and the fights were dope. And I just felt like they did so many things right in Spider-Man 2. And it was good to see Alfred Molina back. And so they're fighting. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy because, the Tobey Maguire now, and now we're doing it with, this is dope. And so dope action sequences on that bridge. The college recruiter, though, she kind of pissed me off because she looked a little too calm for her life to be at risk. Like she was just in the car, like literally hanging for her life in the vehicle, face down, train underneath. I'm just like, she's a little too calm for me. And then when they pull her back up to safety, first thing she says is, "You know what? I'm going to talk to your friend," you know what I'm saying? And you're rude. You're rude. No. I'm going to be hysterical. I won't even be able to form sentences. Yes, you saved my life. I'm not going to lose sight of that. But in this moment where you just pulled me from hanging over a freeway bridge to my death, I'm not going to be able to form complete sentences just yet.
Yeah, that's understandable.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be like, I'm going to be drooling. I'm going to be hysterical, face wet. Anyway, that's just...
Face wet?
So cut to... They finally settle this. They have a great fight. Dr. Octopus's arms meshes with the nanotech of Spider-Man's suit. And so now he just upgraded Doc Ock. But at the same time, Spider-Man was able to control that nanotech mentally. So he was able to override Doc Ock. So now he was at the mercy of paralyzed Doc Ock arms. So that was fantastic how they did that. And then, so once he got Doc Ock under control, Dr. Strange scoops Spider-Man out of that situation. But right before that, the Green Goblin shows up. And, they come through with the circles, and then they back.
With the circles.
Like, all right, Peter, since you messed this all up, Dr. Strange had to run in with the lizard. So now I'm keeping them here. They're coming from these multiple realities, these multiple universes. So now anybody that you encounter from a different universe, we have to bring them here so I can transport everybody back to where they belong.
Yeah.
And so now we got the Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man. We got Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. Green Goblin already popped up and appeared. So now Doctor Strange gives him a little thing where he can immediately transport these beings from a different dimension.
Like a ghost catcher, if you ever seen Danny Phantom.
This little cage that they got for him. And then that way they can capture everybody and then send them back to where they belong. So they do this. He's like, yo, I need the help with MJ and Ned to help me with this, Doctor Strange. And he's like, all right, let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. So now y'all are cute. Y'all are like, what did he call them?
A little Scooby-Doo.
Ghostbusters or the Goonies? Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the Scooby-Doo gang. So now they're on a mission. So now they go and try to they found another anomaly, but they wasn't sure who it was. Turned out it was Electro coming in. Electro shows up.
And he wasn't blue.
And
he was like
Sandman
normal.
Pops up. And he's like, yo, man.
He wasn't balding either. He was not balding like he was in the movie, and he wasn't blue anymore.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I can help you. I'm just trying to get my daughter. Sandman was always all about his daughter.
Yeah.
So it was just like, whatever can get me to my daughter, I'm willing to do that, Spider-Man. So they fight Electro. Sandman is there. Sandman agrees to help Spider-Man take down Electro. Electro is all smooth now, by the way. Jamie Foxx is like smooth. He's like motherfucker from Horrible Bosses. What's his name in Baby Driver? He's like that character now. He's not all nerdy and teethy and like the wild hair like he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's all smooth now because he got a different energy in this reality, man. So now he's just like super smooth now. So anyway, they capture them, throw them in the thing, and Doc Ock is cranky. He's pissed off. He's cranky. Electro is all smooth now. The Lizard is just in there quiet.
He on that smoothness.
The Sandman is in there.
That smoothness got to him.
He don't know who to trust. He don't trust nobody. He just wants his daughter. So now they got those together. And now they know there's one more that they need to get. And so now the Lizard said something like, yo, you talked this whole time? We didn't even know. The dinosaur talked. I'm a lizard. You know what I'm saying? So we got that whole dynamic going. So now, turns out the Green Goblin, he's always had that dual personality thing. He's always, you're gonna do this. He's like, I don't want to do it. You're gonna do it. And he's having that
You're gonna do it.
dynamic with the Green Goblin character. And he's like, but please, this isn't who I am. I'm like, yeah, it is. So he shows up to where Aunt May works as the real Norman Osborn. It's just, I'm just trying to figure it all out. Aunt May calls Spider-Man. Spider-Man rushes down there. It's Norman Osborn. He's in his regular mode, so he takes him to the Scooby-Doo gang hangout in Doctor Strange's basement cellar piece. So now they all up in there. It's like, yo, this is the Green Goblin. He's the other guy from the other dimension. So now we got everybody in there. Doctor Strange is like, yo, we need to send them back. But Spider-Man knows that they each end up dying in their respective realities. So Peter Parker's like,
except for the Lizard.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with sending them back to their deaths. Doctor Strange's like, that's not our problem. We gotta send them back. And he's like, maybe I can fix them. Like, nah, man, I'm taking them back. So Spider-Man intervenes, and so he has to fight Doctor Strange to get that spell, keep the spell from Doctor Strange, so he wanted to send them back. So they do this whole dynamic. And when I tell you, when you fight Doctor Strange, you are going to get some amazing visuals.
Yeah. It was like Inception. It was like the movie Inception times fucking 10, bro. It was just a whole bunch of parallel universes colliding on each other and twisting around. It was intense.
Strange. Mind you, in the comic books, Doctor Strange was always so for me in the comics. It was like he was a cool character. I was never excited about. I didn't read the Defenders like that. Whenever he showed up, I was like, it's cool. But ever since he debuted in the movies, his stuff has been super dope to me. Like the Doctor Strange movie itself has some of the best visuals I had ever seen from an MCU movie. And then even when he fought Thanos in Infinity War, it was just like, yo, how he was battling Thanos just looked dope visually. And we got a taste of those visuals again, kind of when Spider-Man was fighting Mysterio and all this weird shit was happening visually. I was just like, yo, this is dope. So Doctor Strange just brings a whole new element of visual spectacularness when you're watching it on film. So when he's fighting Doctor Strange to try to get the spell back, it was just dope. And he ends up thwarting Doctor Strange because he was good at math. His math led him into, trapping Doctor Strange, getting the best of him. And you forget.
I don't know how that math part worked.
You forget that until,
because it was just like shapes and circles. He was like, "Oh, this is geometry," and start webbing stuff. I don't know how the math thing worked, but it ended up working out.
In that moment where he knew the math, and he was like, "All right." So he's a thwarting Doctor Strange. He gets the spell box. So now his mission is to fix these guys from these different realities and get them back going again. And so I'm gonna fix these guys. I'm gonna cure them better than send them to their death. So they do all this. They get all this going. And so they agree to work with Spider-Man, and because they know this is not the same Peter Parker that they were, around.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was cool seeing them interact with one another and see, yeah, I knew you. I remember you. Hey, you're Norman Osborn. It was like, Otto Octavius. What are you doing here? It was like a, old reunited party mixer network type of vibe for supervillains. Sinister Six, even though it's only 5 of them. So they agree to do that. So they take all these villains to Happy's apartment because Peter and Aunt May was staying with Happy. So now they going up in there, and it's quite the crew, man. When you look, and there's a shot where you see the people coming into Happy's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Happy's like, why is there a dude made of clay walking in? Somebody with arms, somebody that messed up the electronics on my. So it was just like a lot going on in his apartment. So they all in there and they all talking, and not everybody is on board. So the first mission is we're gonna change the chip and Dr. Octopus's, the arms to quell the voices of the tentacles in his brain. That's the big reason why Doc Ock is so mean and so volatile.
Yeah, because the arms took over.
He's hearing all these voices, and the voices are coming from the tentacles that he wears. And so they're trying to nullify that so we can get back to the true Otto Octavius. And so he was cranky, man. He was big cranks. He was Cranks McGee, but it was dope. And so they finally
he wasn't having none of it.
They
none of it.
Happen,
he was,
and it worked.
He was just mad.
Otto Octavius is back. He's like, hey, oh man, what's going on? Like, I was like, man, I forgot how nice he was. He was a great guy before his wife ended up getting killed and the tentacles took over his brain.
He was going through it.
So it was like, wow. So now the next mission, we got the Green Goblin working on his situation. We got the Electro thing going over here. So we're getting all this together so he can cure them so they don't have to die when they go back. But some of them stay shady. Electro was on the fence. He was like, I kind of like this new me.
I think this like
energy.
I think that's just like the halfway point of the movie. Like all of that was just the first half. The movie was like 2 hours plus. All of that was the fucking first half, bro. Like it was long. It was a long movie, but it was good though.
I like who I am now. I don't know if I want to go back. You know what I'm saying? But he was still kind of going with the flow. But at the same time, he was like, I don't know. And then the Green Goblin, we thought he was just harmless Norman Osborn. We was all in. But nah, man, he was treacherous. He was plotting. And Peter's spider senses, he knew something was wrong, but he was trying to figure out who in the room was up to no good. And he figured out it was Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn was out to get everybody, and he was going to kill Peter. And so that allowed Electro to rip off his thing. And so now we have a splinter going on between the supervillains and Spider-Man. So Green Goblin wants Spider-Man dead. So they had this huge epic fight at Happy's apartment. This is going down. Meet me in the trap. Electro is loose. Lizard, who opted to stay in the truck downstairs the whole time, he's let loose. So all hell breaks loose. It's chaos. And in the ensuing battle, Aunt May kind of saves the day, but she puts herself at risk. The glider comes busting in, knocks her clean, unconscious for a second. And then the bomb goes off, knocks Peter out. And so the Green Goblin...
It was a really, really big hit by the glider.
Turns out she's mortally wounded. She looks at Peter and tells Peter, like, I don't know what's going on. She's holding it together, but she said, with great power comes great responsibility. When she said that, I was like, yo, Aunt May's going to die. And when she got up, I thought when she was laying there, I thought she was going to die like that. But when she got up and started talking, helping Peter up, I was like, oh, okay, Aunt May is good. When she said that, I was like, why is she breathing like this? Is she good? Is she good? Aunt May, are you good? But she wasn't good.
She wasn't good.
Man. She died. Aunt May died. Man.
She was
I
just
not
good.
ready for the
She wasn't good.
Uncle Ben. Even though we never got the origin story of the Tom Holland Spider-Man, we just assumed Uncle Ben was dead. We assumed Peter had no parents. Uncle Ben was dead. We never saw it. And the other Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, we saw Uncle Ben die. So we saw it. We felt it. We captured the emotion. The second one, Amazing Spider-Man, we saw Uncle Ben die again.
Yep.
How many times we got to go through?
We ain't got to see him every time.
And then, we saw Spider-Man lose Gwen Stacy. It was just like, but now Tom Holland has truly lost someone. Yeah, granted, he lost Tony Stark, but he had just met Tony Stark. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a stack.
He only knew him for like a few months.
He can't be as attached to Tony Stark as he is to Aunt May. You know what I mean? Like Tony Stark get hurt, but you just met this cat. He gave you some cool gadgets, but you ain't known him that long. And you were gone for 5 years before you came back. So even that 5 years, you missed it. You wasn't that attached to Tony. But Aunt May,
yeah.
Aunt May, man. I'm folding up in the movie theater. My eyeballs are I'm wet at this because me. I
didn't
lost
cry,
a real family.
but
I lost my son.
I was like,
life.
dang, I was getting emotional.
People losing.
I wasn't crying though, but I was getting emotional.
I'm already cries McGee. I was folded up in that movie theater. So I'm just like,
not folded up.
I wasn't expecting that. So we lose Aunt May. Oh, I done missed a whole piece. So at the apartment, when they're trying to get everything together at Happy's apartment, Ned has the Doctor Strange the portal ring. So he's able to open a portal. So now they're like, yo, we need to find Spider-Man. We need to find Peter Parker. So it opens the ring to Peter Parker. Peter Parker comes running in through the ring. Turns out it's the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker. He runs in there. He's in the kitchen with MJ and Ned. They don't believe he is who he says he is.
My crowd went crazy when that part happened. I went crazy too. I ain't gonna hold you.
Trying to prove to them that I am Spider-Man.
But Toby, that's my guy.
Well, that's not enough. And then
I went real crazy for Toby.
And then Ned's grandmother comes out. Hey, can you get that cobweb in the corner? Great scene. It was great to see Andrew Garfield.
They had him cleaning the fucking ceiling.
Help us find Peter. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker comes through the portal.
Mm-hmm.
So now, he didn't have his uniform on, so now he just comes in. So
he caught him a fucking youth pastor.
Tobey Maguire.
He said, "Why you looking like a youth pastor?"
Same movie with Tom Holland. This is just great. Whole back and forth. They find that he's doing the web sling. They making sure, oh, you a Spider-Man too? You a Spider-Man too? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So now Spider-Man, Tom Holland, he loses Aunt May. She's dead. So they find Peter Parker, MJ and Ned pull up, and he's just seriously mourning. And I love it when characters sit in the sadness. And I was just like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? And they
feel every piece.
The two other Peters along.
Feel every piece of that sadness.
So and Peter doesn't even want to hear from them. He's just like, man, y'all don't know what it's like to lose somebody like this. He's like, you know who you talking to? I did. We done lost.
They didn't went through that.
I saw Uncle Ben died in my arms.
Mm-hmm.
It's my fault because I let that killer go, and then he ended up killing my uncle. What are you talking about here? And then, the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker's like, hey, man, what you talking about? I lost my uncle, and when I tried to save my girl, who was my version of MJ, when I tried to save her neck snapped. She hits her head on the thing. What you talking about?
What are you talking about? He don't know.
When lost somebody out
he
here,
don't know.
Removed the
he don't know.
shoulder. And him talking to those other Spider-Man gives him the courage to stick with his original plan and trying to help them and then send them back. So they doing all this. They gonna work together as a team, come together, and they got the plan. They working in the lab. They got a plan for each of them to cure them before they, have to send them back. So they all working together. It's dope seeing these Peters bounce off one another and interact with one another. Jokes are flying and just like, man, this is so dope to see. And it's three Peters, and they're like, Peter, and they're like, huh, which one? We're
damn near the best Marvel movie I ever seen.
That's all of us. So it was just like, wow, this is great. This is great to see from 2001 to whenever this first Spider-Man came out, 2002 to now, to see all this come together like this, genius. It's just beautiful to see. So he worked the plan out. They got the gadgets for everybody. They don't cure everybody. So they had this big fight at the Statue of Liberty. I don't know why we got to put the climax of the movie in this big construction area or this big, it's always, especially with Spider-Man movies, Yeah, just so they can break and destroy shit without the ramifications.
Didn't that happen in Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3
is the
too?
only one that really worries about this. Always an isolated area that's under construction. The Avengers didn't worry about this. The Avengers tore up whole countries. They fought in the African city, planets, Thanos through the moon, and Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, we putting lives at risk. But anyway, Spider-Man's not like that. So we had to.
Yeah, he's way more
They
considerate.
having this big fight. They working together. They curing people. They cure the Sandman. They get Electro. You know what I'm saying? They injecting everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. Meet me in the trap. They got the lizard cured.
Meet me in the trap.
So now they're dealing with the Green Goblin. They're dealing with the Green Goblin. They're trying to get him under control because the Green Goblin is a wild boy. Shout out to Willem Dafoe's performance. He was fantastic in this. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he was really good in it.
Role. You know,
He was like a
together,
freaking psychopath for real.
In the third quarter, the fourth quarter, you want to call it. Doc Ock shows up and helps them out, helps them rule the day, helps them save the day. And they end up, getting everybody cured pretty much. And just when you think Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, is going to kill the Green Goblin with his bare hands.
Oh, he was on his way.
Glider.
He would have did it.
Yep. He grabbed the glider.
He would have did it
The way
too.
he was punching the Green Goblin out, I was like, yo, he going to beat him to death. But the Green Goblin was surprisingly taking those punches. Because I feel like he wasn't holding back. And Spider-Man is strong. I'm like, the Green Goblin is strong too. He grabs the glider, is going to kill him with the glider. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker comes in, holds him. Come on, man. Didn't even say anything. He was just looking at him like, you don't want to do this. You don't need to do this.
Right.
He puts the glider down. Green Goblin stabs Tobey Maguire in the back.
Oh, man.
Damn, man. What's going on?
Not Toby.
Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker throws him with the injection that he needs to cure Green Goblin, throws it to him. Tom Holland sticks it in his neck. He stuck it in his neck hard, though.
Yeah,
he stuck it in there.
he slammed that shit in there, bro. He wasn't playing around with him. He ain't no gentle fucking needle nigga. Nigga, he was in there, bro.
Hard. He didn't kill him, but he was like, yes. And so now Norman Osborn is regular again. So now Doctor Strange, he shows up in the middle of that fight and was like, yo, this cure plan really is working. Okay. All right, cool. So now he's ready to get the spell back in order. But what I forgot to mention is, in that fight, Green Goblin's put a bomb within the spell box. That blew up and set the spell ablaze.
Yep.
So now it's going out there. So now Doctor Strange is trying to contain it back down to where all of these beings from different dimensions don't start coming for Peter Parker. So he's trying to keep that under control. So he has to tell Doctor Strange, like, yo, man, just make everybody forget who Peter Parker really is. Make everybody forget about Peter Parker. It's like
but before that, like, some purple rips in the sky was out. And oh crap, what'd I do? It was like purple rips in the sky and fucking I just realized I just like messed up the video. I'm gonna have to find where the fuck I was at.
But anyway, Spider-Man's not like that. So we had the Statue of Liberty. They having this big fight. They working together. They curing people. In the third quarter, the fourth quarter, you want to call it. Come on, man. Didn't even say. He shows up in the middle of that fight and was like, yo, this cure plan really is working.
I think this is about where we was at.
All right, cool. So now he's ready to get the spell back in order. But what I forgot to mention is, in that fight, Green Goblin's put a bomb in the spell box. That blew up and set the spell ablaze. So now it's going out there. So now Doctor Strange is trying to contain it back down.
That's what I was saying. I was saying it was like purple rips in the sky from that explosion, and like these big creatures was like light constellations of these big creatures was standing in the rifts, and Doctor Strange was saying it's too late. Some of them are already here. Some of them are already went through. So even though he closed the spell, it sounds like there's gonna be some lingering effects of some people came through the multi-dimension even though he closed it.
To where all of these beings from different dimensions don't start coming for Peter Parker. So he's trying to keep that under control. So he has to tell Doctor Strange, like, yo, man, just make everybody forget who Peter Parker really is. make everybody forget about Peter Parker. It's like I never existed. He's like, you sure you want this kid? He's like, hey, I'm gonna have to do it. So Doctor Strange does it. So now Peter Parker has to say goodbye to MJ and Ned because they're gonna forget who he is. So he has to say goodbyes to them. It was a touching, very touching moment. Had to say goodbye to them. And Doctor Strange does the spell. And so now Peter Parker has to essentially start from scratch. His Aunt May died. Now his best friends don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
So now, he had a letter prepared so he can remind MJ of who he was and what they once had. And so he shows up at the donut shop that MJ works at. And he goes in there and she looks all excited when he opens the door. And like, oh, hey, you know who I am? But Ned was behind him. So, Ned showed up and so he goes in there ready to reveal the letter, but he was talking to them, finds out they got accepted to MIT, and they're excited. They're like, yo. And so now he's getting to thinking like, you know what? Sees the cut from the fight. So the cut is there. So it's just like, I think in that moment, Peter realized that he might be better off.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous. He ought to be around me.
You know what I mean? Seeing the extra baggage that Peter Parker's life can bring to his loved ones, I think in that moment he just realized that, you know what? I'm going to just let y'all do y'all thing. Have a great life. I'll just be out here. And he looked sad, but also content in that moment. Just like, you know what? Because me personally, I think that's the route I would take. I would take myself out of it because I know him talking to the other Peter Parkers, they all lost somebody close to them. They all did. And it was just like, that's the constant trend. And I just lost Aunt May.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So he scrapped that idea. He met Happy at the gravesite of Aunt May. He was just talking. Happy didn't know who he was, of course, but, and then, Peter gets this little humble apartment. Nobody knows him.
But it looked like the Spider-Man 1 apartment, though.
In a non-souped up Spider-Man suit. He had to go back to the sewing machine, make him a suit. And it's super dope, by the way.
The original.
He's really popping on that one. And he's going to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
It looked like the original suit, like from the comic books.
Great closing sequence. Shout out to Marvel for having super dope closing sequences now, because they know people are sticking around in that theater. You might as well jazz it up. And they were playing De La Soul, so I'm like, yes. And then cut to the post-credit scene. We got Tom Hardy's Venom in there, and he's just talking, trying to get the scoop of what's going on in this new reality he's in. And so something happens to where he ends up disappearing, and goes back to his reality, right? He goes back to his reality, but he leaves behind some of the symbiote. So now we got the symbiote in this MCU reality. And then the other post-credit scene is basically a teaser trailer for Doctor Strange. What's it called? Multiverse of Madness. They gave us a teaser trailer for that.
Yep.
I didn't want to see any trailers, so this was forced on me, but all right. Now, but I still think I've seen too much. Anyway, so if you don't really like trailers and you sat through this spoil-filled review, but you don't like trailers,
I don't know how that makes sense because he literally told you the entire movie.
Stick around for the first post-credit scene, then dip out because all the second one is a teaser trailer. So watch out for that. Anyway, that's my recap of Spider-Man No Way Home. Go see.
He went scene for scene. This is pretty impressive.
How could I forget? They integrated Daredevil into this. When they were looking at his attorneys to help them through this fiasco of Peter Parker being public.
Big Matt Murdock.
Their attorney was Matt Murdock, who is Daredevil. He shows up. I was just like,
straight from the Netflix series.
So now Daredevil has been introduced into the MCU officially.
Yep.
I'm excited about this. And they showed a little something where somebody threw a brick through their window and he was able to catch it. Spider-Man was like, yo, what do you say? I'm a lawyer.
He said, I'm a good lawyer.
So I was like, oh. Can't believe I forgot that. Good looking out, Cam. I'm sure there's more Easter eggs in there that I forget to mention that I forgot and that I didn't even know existed. So I really want to see the images of the people that were trying to come through the dimension crack. See if I can recognize any of the shapes. Anyway.
Because there was a lot of images of people.
Spider-Man No Way Home. How do you rank all the Spider-Man movies? Let me know your ranking and how you like this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual,
They out there, man. This was a good recap. he goes over the movie really well. But if you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike it, leave a dislike. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. What's your favorite Spider-Man movie? Mine is No Way Home, and then Miles Morales, the Into the Spider-Verse. If it wasn't for everybody meeting up in this movie, Into the Spider-Verse would be my number one. But this movie got all three Spider-Man. I mean, you can't beat it. So it gotta be number one. But let me know your favorite movie. Is it tied with Into the Spider-Verse like me? Other than that, y'all, I'm out. I'll see you on the next video.